Good afternoon and welcome back to Planner Craft. I'm Natalie and I'm going to be taking you through a little card design using some foam. Ian is here manning the comments and he's forgotten to mute the computer again. Okay, so let's dive in and go through what you'll be needing. To help us out today, just because there's a bit of positioning going on, I've got some acetate on which I can draw a kind of reference for my file. And I'm going to be creating my design from scratch on the ScanNCut. Now I do have a headache today, so I will do as much as I can this afternoon, but if need be, it might roll over to tomorrow, so I'll warn you now. I will do my best. So I also have 3 7-inch adaptables. So 2 which are going to be card bases and 1 we're going to chop into. Okay. I have a large stamp design that just about fits into my 7-inch adaptable in terms of height. I have 2 sheets of foam because I'm hedging my bets, so if one goes wrong I've got one already here.
Before you get too far, Zena says good afternoon, your mum says good afternoon, Sarah Lou's joined, Tracy is watching, and Carol says afternoon, Nat, and is she still okay for a 1-to-1 at 5 or after 5?
Yes, with you.
I will do my best, Carol.
I would try Carol if Ian really gets stuck, but I so far today I have not looked at a screen at all. So apart from occasionally glancing at the iPhone this morning doing comments, that is about my limit. So I'm also going to need some score tape. So I'm going to talk about that in relation to the foam.
Why didn't put a link up today?
Honestly, you just gotta get the stuff. Because our 7-inch adaptables are long, you're going to need a long ruler. And you're going to need a good black ink pad. I have some shimmery embossing powder. And I have some stress oxides to blend with. So let's see how we go. And the Mac is taking off. So, any questions before we start?
No, I said, oh heck you. And the link I've just put up is for the score tape sheets like Natalie's using, if anybody would like some.
Okay. So I'm going to go right back down to my adaptable with my long ruler. And this is where I'm going to go in. Can you put up a calculator?
Yeah, hang on a sec.
Okay.
Okay, we're ready.
Okay. 34.2
Yeah.
divided by 3.
11.4.
11.4. Okay, so that's the width of our card that we have to play with. So we are going to trim a little bit off this, but it's a good place to start. So 11.4. We didn't put a light on.
No, you'll have to do that. I ain't climbing over this one to get to that right.
Okay. Yeah, almost. But oh, it's not important at this point.
Is that it for calculator?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
That's the only measurement you're going to do. So the start of this one's fairly easy. So I'm going to go to my ScanNCut and take the blade out because we don't want it to do its little start-up judder with the blade in. Okay, now I'm going to grab my little pencil rubber so that I can not block the shot too much. Now if I go too fast, what's up? Are we frozen, have we?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Give me a sec. Okay.
Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So as I was saying, if I go too fast at any point, tell me to slow down, because it's much easier to tell me to slow down than it is to tell me to go back.
Tina's joined us.
Hello, Tina. Okay, so we know our card base is 11.4 centimetres across, roughly.
And Debbie. So it's a level.
Hello. And we have a height of
And Tracy says hi gang.
17.2. So I want to make sure that I have a bit of a border. So can I have that scrap piece of paper? Just so I can write something down quick. Thank you. If our base card is 11.4 by 17.2, I want to come in from that edge, ready for when we're tidying everything up. So I want to go to about...
Did you want the overhead camera back for a minute?
Oh, that made me think. At the same time as doing this. Right, yeah, you can go back overhead for a minute. So we have a card base that is 11.4 by 17.2 centimetres. So the final size is going to be inside that, so we can tidy up our edges. So that's 10.5 centimetres by, let's say, 16. Now, because our adaptable is nice and long, it doesn't overly matter about the width of our panel, because we're going to kind of do something a bit funky with the folding.
Carol's asked if Tracy ever goes to bed to sleep.
No, I don't think she does.
She's always watching us. And Debbie is sewing face masks at the same time as watching.
Cool.
And Zena says she thinks she'll be able to follow this. Thinks. With a laughy face. Famous last words, Zena. Famous last words.
Yeah. It may be a case that you could all follow it and I'm like, what on earth am I doing? Oh. Migraines, lovely things. Okay.
And Anna's here with us as well.
I'm going to go into my basic shapes. And I'm going to pick a rectangle.
Oh, hang on, you've gone back to that now, haven't you?
Sorry.
It's alright.
Do you want me to go back?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Start again.
Start again. Okay, so I'm going to go pattern, basic shapes. Going to go for a rectangle. Okay, now because our figures vary slightly to what we have on our sheet, I'm going to press my little ratio button. And first of all, our height is going to be 160 to make our 16 centimetres. Oh, not that far. Okay, and we have 10.5 across, so that's 105 millimetres. Okay, so at this point, if you're going to do like 3 different panels, you could set it up so that your number was set to 3, but for today we're going to keep it nice and simple and just do 1 at a time.
So Sarah did, but only at weekends when Natalie and Ian aren't on Carol.
That's not true. We saw Tracy at the weekend. She snuck in. Okay, so there's our first rectangle. Now into that I want to add a circle that I'm going to use to cut our decorative panel into 2 pieces. So I'm actually going to make 2 cards from one decorative panel that I'm going to stamp. So that's why we need our 3 pieces, so we've got 2 background pieces as well. So I'm going to go to add, basic shapes, and we're going to go down to circle. I'm going to go and keep it nice and simple because we're cutting foam to start with. So I thought we'd go back to basics for a bit. And we want to go, let's have a look at our ruler. So this is typically what I tend to do, so I can kind of compare it in real life. Can I just go back overhead?
Yeah.
Tar.
I'm just showing, I didn't put it into the group because there's another 2, so I'm just doing it.
Okay, so if our finished panel's going to finish off being about 10.5, we'll put that kind of in the middle. Don't want to knock the tripod too much, so put that way. Then we probably want our circle to come in probably about 6 centimetres is big enough for what I'm thinking.
And Elizabeth says hi.
Hi!
And Tracy says I can't stay away, I'm addicted. Crafting is my disease.
Okay, can you flip back to the ScanNCut please?
I can. And Sarah says me too, but left quickly and realised what was going on Saturday.
Yeah.
I know at one point everybody was in because we had 4 people watching, so yeah, I did notice everybody popped in at some point on Saturday.
Okay, so I'm going to go down to 60. My 6 centimetres. I only need 1. And automatically it's going to put it to the side of our card. So straight away the machine is thinking, oh, this is 2 separate things. She's not going to want to cut something out of something else. That's okay. So I'm going to go into edit mode and I'm going to select everything. And go OK. Then if we go into our 4-arrow tool, there's a little button up here and that does your align. So I'm going to align it to the centre. So straight away we have almost our card base. That circle just needs to move down a bit. Now if you wanted to put that circle exactly in the middle, you could do just by pressing this one. But for today I just want it slightly further down the card blank. So we can go OK, OK, and I'm just going to select off it so it still has that circle selected. I can go back into my arrows so that I know that I'm keeping that alignment, and I can just use the arrow down button to just move it down.
Carol says you noticed no one paid their £50 to her on Saturday.
Right, okay. It's going to be so easy for me to lose track today. Just go OK. And we're going to go back into select all. OK again. And we're going to group. So what that does is it keeps the position of those 2 relative to each other. So I can still move it around the map, but I'm just saying that bit there should not move. And I'm going to move it over to this top left hand corner. Now, even though it's in the top left corner of our mat, it's not actually going to be in the top left corner when it's actually drawn. So that's why we need the acetate to kind of give us a guide. So straight away we can go, okay, that's why you allow yourself that little bit extra on your card base to kind of give you that little bit of margin for error. Is that Carol asking if Tracy had to go?
Yeah. And Tracy asked if she takes an IOU. I may have to, Tracy. That's if she had to go.
Oh dear. So before we go too much further, I'm going to go OK, so we're back to our main screen. And I'm going to go save. And at this point I was going to have a blank USB, and I knew there was something I'd forgotten. I was going to say, I think there's one in the drawer.
I don't know if it's blank, but it's at least a USB.
Have I got a extension lead? Otherwise I'll be being naughty. That's what I need, thank you. So if you wanted to, you could save this to Canvas, but sometimes it's just easier to just pop it on a USB. Okay, I don't want to ungroup it, that's the whole point. Okay. Okay.
And Sarah is looking confused at the £50.
Yeah.
That's
so
good.
before I go too much further, I'll just make a note of that radius of that circle because it is important. Or diameter, isn't it? Not radius. Duh.
Yes, when Tracy popped in on Saturday, it was Carol said that she was going to charge her £50 to join in.
Okay.
But
What I
Sarah
should
wants
have
a
said at the
99.
beginning, sorry Ian to talk over the top, but it's important. What I should have said at the beginning is if you are going to use a circle or a square as an aperture for your card base, you can do this directly on your machine. If you want to do it with an oval or a rectangle, you need to use Canvas Online. Now that's important because with Canvas Online you can have a line that is a draw and a cut, and that's what you need for this project because we're going to be drawing this grid to give us a reference. Okay, so you have to use the online version for this one. There's not many that I tell you to do that on, but this is one of them.
I don't know where the ice cream man went, sorry Sarah.
Are you getting out and running for ice cream again?
Yeah, he's already gone.
Okay. So let's peel the package off our mat and bring in our acetate. Now the next important thing is when you're aligning your acetate to your mat, you want to make sure that you are literally on the line that joins the white and the black in the case of the arty sticks. Just because you want to make absolutely certain that you have a clear reference point. So you notice I'm taking my time on this one to make sure it's lined up exactly. Otherwise when we come to put our card in it won't work.
It would be if they could see what you're doing. They can't, so I've got it on.
Huh?
It's still on the ScanNCut.
Honestly, you can't get the staff, can you?
I was answering comments and giving an out for ice cream man. And,
Yeah, doing really important things, not.
and other things that are due to arrive.
Oh, okay. Right, there you are. Okay. I'm going to load my map. And grab my Sharpie. Ooh, smell the alcohol. And loosen that off a tad. So I'm using Carl's Universal pen holder for this one because it's an ultra fine. And I'm going to take the lid off. I was hoping it's going to keep the lid
Do you want me
on.
to swap so you can show it on the camera then?
Yes. So,
For those who haven't seen one.
yeah.
Surprised you're not using your pink one yet.
Not for this because it'll mark it. Yes, I am not anal.
I can't really hear you. You've got the... Oh, to speak up, Nat. They're struggling to hear you.
Okay. Sorry about that.
didn't it?
Probably just migraine day. I'm probably just being a bit quieter than usual. Not being my usual self. Just trying to see whether my nibs actually gets the holder, because that's the important bit. Feels like it won't go any further, but let's see. Okay, now just because we've used a few different pens in there, just clean me nib a bit.
Isn't that allowed a pink, or did she win? We thought, as they were so unique, we better let Nat have at least one of them.
Yeah, as I get grumpy. Okay.
Right, back to ScanNCut.
Yes, please. So I'm going to go OK and draw. Now, if this goes wrong, you've still got another 3 corners. And each time it will come up with this, because we're using Carl's holder, and you just go OK and carry on.
Unplugging.
Has it gone again?
Yeah. Just quickly put it back in.
There we go.
Hey, Trish just bought the Affinity Designer.
Yay, that's good. I will do a couple of tutorials for other titles next week, won't I? Because we have Illustrator and Inkscape still to cover.
And back to overhead, what you're saying on ScanNCut for me.
I'm going to take this out in a minute, so you can go back to overhead if you want.
Okay.
So I'm going to unmove on that. Now if you had a lot more room, what I'd say is just take the acetate off your mat and don't unload it, because then you'll be absolutely on the nose for accuracy. But I don't have enough room to do that.
Has your prize arrived yet, Tracy? Just out of curiosity.
Okay, so next I'm going to grab my stamp platform.
Yes, Inkscape has updated for the Mac. It's on a beta version at the moment, but you can download it now, and it does work. And they've made quite a few changes.
Yeah, everything's in different places and the shortcuts are all different, and yeah, don't like it. Can't get used to it.
Tracy still hasn't arrived.
Oh wow, it'll get there. I mean, with everything else going on, it's bound to be a bit slower than usual. So the stamp I'm using is a Chloe stamp, and it is Butterfly Swirl. If anyone wants to put that in the comments, I can give you the product code as well if you want it.
It says if I can find out now.
So with our grid right into the corner, we can see straight away where we're going to end up cutting. And you can see how much of a difference it actually makes. So where you think it's going to cut is actually not where it's going to cut. So you actually have quite a gap on this left hand edge, and there's about 1 millimetre to the top edge. So I'm just going to position my stamp. And you want to bear in mind where your circle is and how much of your design you're going to kind of be leaving behind when we take out this circle. So you can see the circles coming round here, and that's going to just cut out as is. So it's not going to do anything fancy when it comes to this butterfly. It's literally going to go straight on through. And with that, I'm going to close up my stamp platform and give it a good press down. And peel it off. And now you can set that to one side, which is why I said you're better off saving it to USB so that you have somewhere that you can reference your guide back to, so you can use that as many times as you like. So with something like this, it's actually quite a useful design. So you're not limited to you only using it with one stamp, for instance. Okay. So I'm going to do 2 copies of this with black ink. I'm just going to check to see. I can do a magnet down this end, that one might be a bit tight. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. Now, ink pad. I'm going for squid ink. So if I decide I want to watercolour it or colour it with Copics, I can do. Either or, it doesn't mind, which is why I've now kind of switched entirely over to this one for my image stamping. Now this is a brand new stamp, so it may take a couple of impressions, but that's the joy of a stamp platform. So I can see I missed that butterfly down there, so I can go back and do that again in a minute.
Hi Jackie, hope you're well.
So any questions so far?
No, I don't think so. Tracy only had 4 days left on her trial.
Yeah, I think Carol's is not far off being up as well.
Carol has bought it as well.
Cool. So, next one. Try and go careful not to get inky.
These are really pretty butterflies.
They are really pretty butterflies. So I was putting some masks for them earlier, just in case I decide that I'm going to change my mind at any point as to what I'm doing. Because, you know, this is me. I'm going to change my mind at some point. Do you want me to move up a bit?
That's okay, I can do it. There we go.
Okay. Just going to give it another little press just where that one butterfly is. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
That's alright, Carol. It'll only be me doing something, so. Carol says she's going to be MIA in the morning.
Is it you tomorrow?
I don't know, if we're doing simple things all week, probably. And you trust me to do the simple ones, don't you?
I thought of something for tomorrow. Do you know what? It's gone. Oh, it was an important one as well. Oh. fiddlesticks. I'm going to have to start keeping a notepad by the side of the bed, so when I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, knowing what I need to do for class this week, as you do.
Tracy said she's grounded, and Carol says not surprised. She's been a naughty girl.
Oh dear. She's been buying a DX.
And Tracy says she's scared to ask.
Okay. So I'm just going to quickly clean and dry my stamp off because I think, if I am, that I'm going to go for some Versamark now. Versamark is terrible for pulling off any ink off your stamp if you have any left on. So normally what I would do is give it a very good scrub before even thinking about letting a Versamark pad near it. So
Carol said you only do simple ones, and Nat wants you to help me tonight.
Well, we don't by now, Carol, but he's watched me do it enough that he knows what he's doing.
No. She only lets me do the simple live ones because she doesn't dare let me do anything complicated on stream because you've seen my track record on how things go wrong.
Oh, it was something. Oh, why can't my brain remember? That's appalling. I know one of the ones I wanted to do was symbols and using it to design your own turnabout stamps.
What?
Exactly. That's why I only do the simple ones. He hasn't got the lingo yet, Carol.
Someone's coming to collect the 600. So.
Oh.
The spray is just water, Jackie. There's nothing more in it than water.
Just water.
What are you looking for?
Some my mum sent over. Which probably means it's not what you. Can't blame me, you were brave leaving that on its side. So, there's some art pad. I think I need a bigger desk, you know.
Yeah.
Put it
Keep
out
saying
of
that,
the room.
didn't we? So what we'll do when we go to IKEA, we'll buy you the 1.5 metre and put this one in the bedroom.
Yeah.
And just swap the legs over.
Whew. So how is it where you are? Because it's warm and muggy and horrible here. Not a lot there. Maybe a little bit more. I might have to get a re-inker for that one, Mum. What's that about Tracy saying about?
Okay, so I saw a video clip from Creating Spain again. She just got a ScanNCut and now she is using it to make stamps with it by making a negative, then using the polymer gel on it. Looked so easy. And someone commented that you can get the gel from Collop in the UK.
We saw them at the trade show.
They were at the trade show.
Because they were just bringing out their new little printer thing that Create and Craft now sell, don't they? Okay, so hopefully that's going to be wet enough. I might have to do one more just to make absolutely certain, because there's nothing worse than a embossed image. Might change embossing powder as well to a pearl one, just because it's still picked up a little bit of that black.
They rang the company direct. Yeah, there you go.
There we go. So, just going to do that away just for a minute. Okay, just for now, pop that away and I'll tidy that up in a bit because I'm a good girl on this. I'll get him back for that in a minute.
You're going to pop something this morning,
Okay, so I'm going to swap to the white pearl, and I might still do the sparkly one yet over the top. Okay, that's not bad considering I haven't used an anti-static peg. If anybody's wondering what the gadget is, it's a tidy tray from Sticks 2. Did you put up a link the other day in?
No, because I couldn't find the particular one. So.
That would be an issue.
Can't remember where you get them. If you can get them direct.
Okay. I'll get a bit of a brush on that in a bit. But just so it doesn't blow around everywhere, I'll just take it off the desk. And that little bit of stamp is still floating around. So it's very good at clinging, but not necessarily clinging where you want it to. So you want to let your heat gun get nice and hot before you start.
This would the tidy tray if anybody would like one. Tracy says, why did you do it on the back as well?
Why?
Yeah.
Because you tend to get less coupling if you do it that way.
Less what?
Coupling.
Coupling.
Yeah, or warping in your card. Just because I've had it on high for a bit, I'm just going to hold it for a second. So if you have any questions, now's a good time to ask. I can't pass it to you, it's not a long enough lead, so...
I know. I'm just waving back.
Yeah, because you daft. So that should be almost okay. She says. Okay.
You suddenly smell molten plastic and you're going to...
That's not even funny. Okay, so you want to kind of just run your finger lightly over the top and just make sure that it's not got any kind of granular bits still. Because when we come to going with our brushes, if anything's not quite set, you'll be brushing it all over the shop. And the last thing you want to do is try and get embossing powder out of your blending brushes. So I'm just going to overlap my lovely large A3 sheets that I have protecting my desk. Thank you, Mum. And I'm going to go in with my biggest brushes first. And I have fossilised amber, spun sugar and seedless preserves. So this could make for an interesting colour combination. But before I go too far, I stamped a registration image to go in with my stamp, and onto that I've put my masks, just so I can keep a track of which one's for which butterfly. Now, just because this is going on to embossing powder, you want to rub it down well. And hopefully it won't pick up the black. I know that's smudged from when I was cutting it. So this next one goes over here. Next one goes over this one. So you see, I could have cheated by showing you this card and just used pattern paper instead, but where's the fun in that? So much more fun to get messy. Okay, now I haven't bothered cutting out masks for the little tiny butterflies, just because I thought there would be very little point by the time that they're embossed.
And life's too short.
And life's too short, yeah. Come here, there we go. So all I've used to do these is just a post-it note roll from Tiger. But you could use repositionable labels if there's something that you know you're going to want to use time and time again. Or you can use some masking magic from Gina K, or I believe some other brands have comparable items My butterfly is trying to be naughty and fly away because it's still a bit warm. So we're going to be going nice and slowly and lightly with our ink today. So I'm just going to pop that one over there for a minute and decide which way round our blend's going to go. So we could go purple at the top so it gets darker and then our butterflies will come out. So I think that's the way round I'm going to go actually.
Oh, we always worry about the short people. My mum's short.
I'm not exactly tall.
No.
Although I am taller than Mum. Not by much, but okay, so now because we're starting to come over our masking, I'm just going to go a little bit lighter. Actually worked quite well, you know, Mum. You were wanting them back.
Sure your mum kept a few sheets to play with.
Don't know. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put my lid back on that one, and because I don't want to cross-contaminate my ink pads, even though they should be alright, I'm going to keep my blending brush on top of my ink pad so I know which is which. So I'm going to go into the pink, and this is where my troublesome butterfly is, so I'm going to have to go slowly and gently and carefully with them. These troublemakers, honestly. Move this round in this way, and just because that butterfly's been particularly awkward, I'll stop the butterfly and kind of work in a circular fashion so you can't wiggle too far away.
Okay. Jackie's asked, could you not do the background first, going lighter in the area where you were going to stamp, then stamp and colour the image over the top of the background? You
could, and you get a different effect to what I'm going to be doing. So yeah, if you wanted to, if you can kind of think that way around, yeah. As long as all your images line up, that's the important thing. So you'll kind of see when we get on to the next step why I've gone so carefully to align everything, because we're going to be cutting into this panel. So I can blend a bit more pink down that way. So this pink is a lovely soft pink. And this bit is going to go, well, that's way too dark, but we'll try and go as light as possible, just because this is quite a big jump now. So if I go like that, you can see, whoa! And I'm going to move it away from that yellow. Otherwise, when you blend, you risk picking up the yellow and then you'll have mud. So basically, our spun sugar acts as a buffer. So that your purple and your yellow don't touch.
Carol's asked if the naughty butterfly is related to me. And what is the paper that your mum gave you that you're using as a blending mat?
It is like double-sided, like photo paper, isn't it, Mum? Because it's glossy. So I'm going to be playing with some alcohol inks on it as well. So even though this is on here, it's probably going to end up turning into something else and being used on another project. Just because it's a nice big card as well.
Jackie says she's loving the colours. Oh, butterfly moved.
Naughty butterfly, come back here. You're not allowed to go. Whoa, not like that either. It's okay, you can blend that in. He's definitely wanting to go away, that one. So. How many butterflies can you straddle at once? Right, now I want to get in there. I'm just going to turn that round just so I can... Gotta go careful with all of a naughty butterfly now.
Is it reusable? I'll let you know.
Which?
The paper.
It's like photo paper, so what I'll end up doing is probably inking all of it and then chop into it and stamp it and use it for like backgrounds and stuff.
Could you wipe it off? If you have a baby wipe or...
Let's try a fairy, shall we? No, not really. Comes off a little bit. But yeah, if you're going to do quite a few cards in the same colours, you could just work your way around the sheet and then use some nice big background stamps. So like some of the designs from Artisan Designs have some nice textured stamps. Who else did we see the other day and we said, was it Barbara? Clarity.
It might have been.
I think it was, yeah.
It's coated on both sides as well, so you can always turn it over and use the other side for a bit as well. If you really wanted to. For longevity.
Longevity?
That's the word.
Would you like some teeth?
Yeah, I'm missing a few now.
Oh, here we go. So there we go. So before we go too far, I'm just going to...
Tracy, it probably comes off the rubbing alcohol maybe.
Maybe, I'll try that in a minute. I'm just going to quickly go over the top of my embossing powder wherever I think that it's not quite true to colour, where it's still got a bit of the ink over the top. Just so that when we then go over it again when it's all unmasked, so to speak, it doesn't smudge too much. See, that naughty butterfly has moved. There we go. So you will get a certain amount that comes off. You want to move, you move. Just going to clean that bit off there. So with the pearl one, you'll see it has like a kind of soft tint to it where it overlaps it, and then it will come back and it's got like a sort of silvery white. But you could use like a matte white, a gloss white, so that you get true white back.
Tracy says it's beautiful.
There we go. Or if your ink pad or your stamp is nice and clean, you can just go for a clear. So I don't think these are going to stick back on the card as much as I would like to stick them back on. So I'm just going to peel those off.
We should have to go get you another roll.
Yeah. Or Jennifer Maguire recommends some Avery ones, doesn't she? The repositionable.
Carol says to have an old oilcloth that could be cut to make mats, and they are cleanable, if
Yes.
that's a word.
Yes, we used to have one on our craft desk, didn't we? Then we went to the silicone one, which was also cleanable and cool, and you could just go straight onto that if you didn't want to. So I'll just wrap my kitchen towel into a little bit of a stump, so you can kind of scrub at it a bit more. Just so we get it nice and clean. And you can heat set it again if you want, just make sure that you don't melt your embossing powder too much.
It does burn, doesn't it, eventually?
And eventually it just sinks and makes a greasy mess. Putting it bluntly. I'm also just trying to move it round a bit so I don't contaminate the colours too much. Just so I go around these edges. And there we go. So we've got a nice design like so. So on this one I think I'm going to leave these butterflies plain, and then I may colour the butterflies on the other cards, but we'll see how we go from here. So far so good. Any questions on blending brushes or inks at all?
Oh dear. That's right, Linda. You're allowed to be late. You don't mind.
Okay. So for Linda to catch up,
We should watch that later. So.
we did a card background that we've then mapped out onto a piece of acetate as a guide. We then put that guide in our stamp platform when we stamped our background, and now we're going to put it back onto our mat.
Do you want me to wait till you've loaded your mat and then I'll go back to
Yes, please.
hopefully a working camera?
Because we're going to line it up inside our black line again. So this is why you go so careful when you line your acetate up for your grid. So we know that it's going to cut a little sliver off here, and we can even double check if we want to. So if we drop that so it's in the same place, you can see we're well within our card and don't pack. It's a good bit of reassurance, that.
Ready to go to ScanNCut?
I am.
Okay.
Okay. So you want to make sure that your card is well and truly stuck down, especially given that we've embossed it, so it's got a slight bend to it no matter how careful we go. And you want to make sure it doesn't lift. I'm going to load it into my machine. Okay. And then get Mr. Waterplay to tell me what blade it is. Because he's got to have some job.
6.
6.
What are the blending brushes? The blending brushes are
Makeup brushes.
makeup brushes, and we have a link to them on our Amazon store. So give me a second and I'll
Pop them up.
pop them up.
I'm not sure if they still have the rose gold colour in. Maybe they only have black. But they're just standard makeup brushes, so they're not too expensive. So if you're used to blending with sponges, you'll know that the sponge disintegrates quite quickly, so you end up replacing them a lot. Whereas these don't disintegrate, or at least they haven't done yet, and I've used and abused mine. So I'm going to go to cut and play. Now, just because I'm a bit nervous because it's kind of bendy, I'm just going to gently hold my hand there. Especially as we've done all this kind of working up to this point. Okay. Now, I do recommend a metal spatula if you're new to the show, just so that we don't damage the edge of our card. Oh, should have gone higher, Ian. Oh well.
Might not cut it.
It's not cut it. My auto blade is off. I think it needs a sack. That's
Turn your
okay.
pressure back up.
I can sort it. But before I do that, it's probably going to do me a favour actually, keeping that in there for a minute. Just because my desk is, well, yeah. And before I go too far. So we've already saved our card design to our USB. And now I need to create the same file, but this time for our foam. So this is going to be slightly smaller than our card. And definitely going to put that blade up a bit.
Put your pressure up rather than the blade. It's on -8, so
Okay.
probably come back up to -6. And it'll probably cut perfectly.
Okay, we'll try that. So again, if I load the mat, I think I've done it already. As I said, if you have more room, I'd leave your mat in for a while. Now I'm lining back up on the same line, and I'm going to bring my guide back in, just so I can check that everything is okay with my alignment. It's going to be a little close on the one corner. We'll see how we go. So I'm going to try and do this two ways. So this first one I'm going to do with no adhesive sheet on it. So if this one cuts okay, then I'll be perfectly happy to carry on from there. Okay, so now I'm going to go back home. Okay, pattern. Going to go back to my rectangle. Now this time I want to go slightly smaller than my card blank. So I'm going to go to a width of 10. Press my ratio button because my height needs to go up to, I'm going to go 155, so it's slightly narrower than my card base, so it's not sitting flush on the edge. And we can go set. I'm going to go back to add another basic shape and a circle. Now we know that our previous circle was 6 centimeters, so we actually need to do 2 circles at this point. So we're going to do one that's bigger than 6 centimeters to go underneath our main panel. So we'll set that one to 65.
Yeah, there's a link there for the blending brushes just come up.
Okay.
And Tracy asks, is this foam the same as felt?
No. No, it is the big craft foam pack from Oakwood Archer. So I believe Chanda do it. If you're looking to get it from somewhere. We used to stock it, we don't anymore. And our last one was 65, so we now need to go down to 55 for our other circle. We can go into our canvas, select all, okay. Going to go into there, and we're going to go to line it to the centre. Okay. Now I just want to get to the 2 circles, so we can click those 2.
Carol was asked, could you use foam iron?
Foam-earing.
It's
It's the thinner foam. That's more for making flowers. But yes, you can cut it on your machine, but I won't use it for this. It's too fancy. So this is basically the, you know, like the kids' cheap craft foam. This is it. So I'm just going to put those 2 to the middle and go okay, okay, and going to group just those 2 circles. Okay, and I'm going to go to add, save data. It's on the USB, and I'm going to pull in my original card design and go OK. Because remember how it said that we can't ungroup it. So I'm going to go into my circle. I'm going to use my arrow keys again. And I'm going to bring it down so it is more or less level with this circle here. Now, if it's slightly out, I'm not too concerned because we can always trim it back if need be. But that looks fairly alright to me. The red box goes above the and below the aperture on our original card design. We know it's in the centre of our card, so logically it has to be right. Yeah. We'll see how this goes. It works in my head. So we'll go OK. Go to our card design and we can just delete it out of there because we just wanted it for reference. I'm going to go to all and group. So we can drag it over to this corner. Okay. I'm going to go OK, and I'm just going to brave it and go for it and just cut. And reload my mat. Yep, you can tell me off for loading it with my blade in a minute. Okay, let's give it a go and see how it goes.
Is it got stuck down there?
Yeah, no, it's not going anywhere, so it's not that bit I'm worried about.
The bit in the middle is going to be tough.
Yeah. So before we unload this one, we'll test Ian's theory, and he's not right. So let's pop this blade up. And
I was reading for more card, not for foam.
do I dare to try 9?
What was it on?
6.
What's it done? That's gone through. No,
Yeah.
You've already cut a bit of it, so I'd drop it down to about 7.5.
Okay, 7.5, or what a blade says, so let's try 7.5, shall we?
Don't forget you've already scored it once now, so it's not cutting that top there again.
Yeah. Okay, and gonna go back to cut. Okay, let's have a look. Still not quite through. Let's go up to 8.25.
8.25.
8.25. Please don't cut my mat. Do. Okay.
Let's just see if I can hear it if it was.
Trouble is, it doesn't have any sound to cutting it. It's not like cutting paper where you can just listen. you believe it? It's going to be Natty's 9. Oh dear. Should trust yourself or not. This is where I go through the map now just for being cheeky. Okay. Cut. Over it.
Because you've got a couple of spares. I think.
Huh?
Yeah, it's still got a couple of spares. You're alright.
Any questions while we're chuntering? Seriously.
Put your pressure up. It's not cutting through.
It's almost there, but not quite there. And oh. Okay.
What did you put the pressure up to?
-6. Going up to -5.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it doesn't sound like it's cutting the mat, so that's a good start. Please do feel free to ask questions. Get a lovely tram line from the roller. Okay.
Zena says, no, I'm actually following quite well.
It's nearly there, and I don't know whether to just try and
Get your craft knife on it.
get my craft knife on it. I think I might do actually. Just because I'm wary if I'm going to go up too far and he's going to just because I always say I've never gone through a mat. There's a first time for everything. Right, now before I go too far, I'll change my blade back down to 5. Just because I don't want to accidentally go and use it on 9 again and go, oh dear, I did not mean that to happen. I mean, it's nearly there. It's like tiny, tiny, tiny fraction.
Yeah, let's go back to the top.
So,
Tracy's waiting to do a test cut first, Natalie.
no!
Boring.
And it added to which is no fucking accurate.
So do we find that out from doing the stamps?
Yeah, the test cushion worked so well with that. Oh dear. I don't think one off day in you know all these lockdown videos that we've done. I mean, Ian still hasn't done the count, have you, yet to see where we are? I'm sure we're well over 100 now.
I haven't, no.
So I don't think all that time and then just have a couple that go a bit Pete tongue.
Okay, because she relies on the straw to blade Tracy and he's having an off day.
There you go. Why cut it when you can just tear it and tidy? It really was just that tiny fraction. As I said, you run the risk when you through that much. Especially when you've already been round it like 5 times. They're just going straight through. Now, with this centre bit, this middle bit of the circle is actually waste. Now what I would say is normally you could kind of put it to one side and use it for something else. But as it's not cut properly, use it to be able to get round to your other 2 cut lines. So I'm just going to nip it right in the middle, just because you don't want to risk going into either cut line. Just so you have somewhere that you can stick your scissors through.
Once it starts, it might pop and just go.
There you go. Just careful when you pull it off because you don't want to stretch your foam too much. There we go. So it really was that close. And I can do the same on the inside section. There we go. Now what I would say is, from experience, the double adhesive foam is actually easier to cut than that, believe it or not, because it has that extra stability. Which is why I had a sheet here in case I needed it, because I thought, well, that's going to be brave to try and do it straight off on its own, but I wanted to see how it would go. What? Am I not in shot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Was that I ran out of shot, Carol? Because the ScanNCut's not saying very much. Before I go too far, I'm just going to go and save that design to the USB 2. Just so then I've always got that there ready to try it. And I will try and do that with some double-sided the other day. Although I have to say that oddly my head's going a bit easier. Oh, considering I haven't taken anything. Right. So, next, let's sort out this piece. These are... Machine was a little bit naughty. There we go.
I think because you're cutting it off matte, look, yeah.
I'll try and not do that, but there we go. And you might want to hang on to some of these scraps for another project. Never know. Especially if you're going to try and fill the rest of your binding sheet in. Come on. Let's unload this from our machine. Just a minute. Okay. Can I have... Oh, I'll use this one. I use my messy one, so please excuse the state of my cutting mat. And I'm going to use my slice, just because I'm not using a ruler. Mum's covering up her eyes going, no.
No, Karen says she should know about that, shouldn't she? You naughty nut.
What?
Being on camera.
Goodness knows I was slating somebody up for it the other night. Oh dear, then I thought to myself, as I did, I thought, you wait for it, next stream I do. Just because.
Is that when we were looking at the ones the other day?
Yeah.
Yeah. How much matter, Barry, like you normally would do?
No, because I'm on a different mat than usual, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, come on, be nice. One little bit, honestly. There we go, do it from the back. It's easier. There we go. So we have the centre panel. And if you need to tidy it up, just tidy it up. What's that?
Perhaps it makes a change to pick on you rather than me. I don't mind.
So I've got to get used to doing these things kind of pre-recorded as well, haven't I? So it's going to be fun. Okay. So far, so good. Let's bring the backing sheets back in. Not to be confused with the one to go back in with the stamp. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount this piece up with this foam and this piece up with this foam, and what I'm going to aim to do is match up the two, and then I can just add pop a colour if I want to. So bear with me while I do that, and feel free to talk amongst yourselves. Cat dance.
We usually do talk among ourselves.
Yeah, for this one I'm not even going to try and use the thin nozzle.
I will try and clear that out for you though. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you can see now where I say if the alignment's slightly off, I'm not too worried. It's just that there's a little bit of a gap. Now we'll tidy up that bottom edge, I think. Just where my alignment's off again. We only did it last week, didn't we?
I did it on stream, didn't I?
Yeah. It's gone again. Everybody think we'd moved it. Oh, you did, didn't you?
I did.
We did.
Yeah, I moved it to
We put Jackie's up, didn't we?
I did. To do some testing on it, didn't I?
Yeah. Oh, gosh. See, look, I shouldn't have gone for anything so complicated today, should I? There we go.
Yes, please,
Well,
Jackie.
that's
Milk and 2 sugars.
drying. What's that? Jackie's making me a cup of tea?
Yeah, Jackie's making us a cuppa. Yeah.
Okay. With doggy cuddles. Oh, right. Okay. So, set that to dry. Okay, so if we go into this top corner like so, we know we're going to get it in the right place. Okay.
Biscuits are always biscuits.
What's that?
Custard creams and party rings.
Oh! Well, we'll be going around to Jackie's. Okay, so original card size is 10.5 centimetres, so I'm just going to trim my card to that.
Ooh, what are Tim Tams?
Huh?
Tim Tams.
Tim Tams?
Yeah.
What? I do not know these. Tim Tams? What are Tim Tams?
And Jackie's off in gin, vodka, rum and wine.
Oh! Vodka. Vodka martini.
Shaking, not stirred.
Yep. Okay, so that's not too bad, so we'll go for that one. Ding, 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 ding,
Carol said, yes please Jackie, one of each, please, and a bicky.
Okay, so while Ian's being cheeky,
I'm not being cheeky, I'm just reading the comments.
give him some ideas for some sentiments, because Tracy said about doing one sentiment Not welded, in one sentiment, welded and what the difference is. So, as we're doing 2 cards, we can do 1 of each.
No, Tracy, I don't know what I didn't tell me, I'm sorry.
Now, what I would say is, because we're doing it as a panelled card, although I've done that lovely and neat, the ScanNCut didn't. So I'm just going to undercut my panel, just so it's going to look neat when it's applied to the card. You want to try and go careful at this point not to bend the card too much, otherwise it will set a bit wonky donkey because we've used wet glue. So there's one panel. Now for this panel, this is a bit more fiddly, and this is definitely a wet glue moment. So I'm going to put a nice splodge in the middle and let it kind of squidge out when we get to the place from.
Yeah, we'll hold you to that one, Jackie.
What's that?
Jackie says once we can have bigger bubbles or several, you're all welcome round at hers for tea, coffee, biscuits, alcohol and crafting.
Oh yeah. I'm up for that one.
Yeah, Jackie's in England, she's not far from us.
Yeah. Jackie gets 1-to-1 time with us, doesn't she? She's lucky.
And Jackie's the lovely lady that lent us her DX as well.
Yeah, so she's the lovely lady that is the reason that the book does both CM and DX, because otherwise I'd be stuck.
It will be coming back to you soon, Jackie.
It will be.
Just got to arrange a time, haven't we? So
Yeah.
we'll get it back to you this week.
I'm just applying a nice bit of pressure. Now, before we go too far, I know I had these out the other day, so I'm like,
What you
did
lost?
I put them back down there? I did. I did.
No, you didn't.
Here we go.
Dearest?
Huh?
No, you did.
You put them away, did you?
I put them away.
Okay. We can't get any more of these, so everybody's going to go, oh, what's those? I think the closest I've found is Clarity do some Pergamano blending tips that are kind of similar material. But these are cut and dry nibs. What's the...
And Tracy said, okay, I shall leave now, be there next year.
What, walking? So I'm going to start off with the purple. So I keep a tip for different kind of tones, so I'm using my purple tip to do this.
Tracy's in Australia, Jackie, so she's got a long way to walk.
I wouldn't fancy the walk. County Hall's enough. Pull them out of shape.
Oh, but it was nice to see Jim Jim.
It was nice to see Jim Jim. And he enjoyed himself too, didn't he? So.
Yeah.
And we don't know when we'll see him again, so.
No.
It was important, as far as I can say anyway. So I'm just alternating as to whether I put the purple from the centre of the body outwards, or whether I go
Are the borders still shut?
Huh?
Are the borders still shut for the UK?
I don't think they ever should, did they?
I don't know.
They were still bringing them in from everywhere else, weren't they? I don't think even the flights stopped, because, you know, if you watch the DHL advert, yeah, their planes were still flying. That's nice.
Jackie says maybe we should all go out to Tracy. Take your holiday. We'll all go to Australia for a week.
Can I go by boat?
No. Get you out of plane.
I've been on the plane since I was, how old, Mum? 1? 2, 1.
You got a 2-week holiday just to get there. Go by boat.
It's a week to America, so it's got to be longer than 2 weeks. Surely.
There you go. The borders aren't closed, but everyone has to quarantine for 2 weeks when they arrive here at the moment. And Tracy says no, maybe she should come over though, because most of her family are over here. So.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it, if we all had like a big post-lockdown meet-up, wouldn't it?
And there you go. Tracy went by boat to Australia in 1973, so I don't see why you couldn't. Mind you, that took a long time. When did you?
Well, that's how in 1973 she lived in Scotland. I'll clip his ear off for that one for you, Jason.
Told you. Warped sense of humour.
So, just because this one hasn't really got a lot of the yellow in, I'm just going to do the pink and the purple, I think.
They only have essential planes flying at the moment out of Australia. So.
See, I think everywhere else has been kind of really sensible with it, and we've just gone, yay, whatever.
We're British, what do you expect? She's only got here last night, settled in quick. That's not true, so I know you've been watching us for at least 3 months.
But she could be watching on the boat.
Well, yeah, I suppose, yeah, going to be on the boat, enjoying the thing, yeah. That's why you didn't sleep on the boat, isn't it?
Yeah. Making the most of the superior Wi-Fi. He's daft, isn't he? Okay.
I think our crafting together is pretty essential. It is pretty essential, yes.
Yeah.
I quite agree with you there, Jackie. Tim Tams are the yummy chocolate biscuits in the world. Oh.
Chocolate.
Yeah, Natty not allowed chocolate though. It's giving her headaches at the moment, so she's staying off chocolates at the moment.
Yeah, so I'm currently getting towards the end of the 2-day headache because I dared to eat a couple of After Eight mints.
Yeah. Mobile internet lol, yeah.
And the best.
Trouble is, in 1973 when you left it didn't
Didn't have it was installed on the way.
3 months by boat, there you go. I'm sure it's quicker these days, but...
Yikes, 3 months. I think I might have gone slightly insane by that point.
I know, it's only another lockdown.
I suppose, yeah. And I quite like boats, don't I?
Yeah.
So I much prefer boats to planes.
Especially for breakfast.
Not that I can swim any better, you know, if anything went wrong.
Yeah, but the breakfast are there.
Oh, very true. Oh dear, very true. Car's gone a bit skewy, but never mind, eh? I can always do it again another day when I'm feeling somewhat more up to it.
You drink coffee through the biscuit and it melts from the inside.
Oh. Does anybody remember Spirers? That's what I used to do with them. I used to stick them in my cup of tea. Spirers and use them as a straw.
Are the ones that used to have the coating on the inside?
They were like, they had holes that went up like a straw through the middle.
Hmm.
So you had like a circle in the middle and then you had like little segments coming off it. Bit like if you cut through a lemon but with an extra hole in the middle. And then it would twist as it came up. But it only had like thin bits of chocolate between each segment, so as it was you drinking the tea, it would melt the chocolate on the way. Oh dear.
Okay.
The things I used to do when I was a kid. Okay, so with this one, because we've got obviously got the yellow at the bottom, I'm going to switch nib.
Wow. There was
that?
only 2 at the time, and Mum thought we were going to drown, so that we'd be baptised in the middle of the ocean on the boat.
Okay. I take it was a bit rough. I thought you've been really naughty and they're going to fling you overboard. Okay, so this is going to be quite strong on this nib, so I'm just going to do a little bit and then I'm going to get a... Go on, I've got this on it. There we go. We have a tiny in the pack. There's like a little detail one. So I'm just going to push that in. So, and this section, I'm just going to brush that in too. So you want to go careful that you don't smudge it outside. So I'm literally just tapping it inwards. And a little bit around here. It's a good job Pete's not very live today.
Our baptism circuit is longitude and latitude. It's so funny now thinking about it. So for location, it's actually got where they were at sea.
that is actually quite funky, because you must be one of the few that's got that.
Mm. Long time for a 2-year-old to be good. Do you remember if you managed it, Tracy?
Gonna say, I can't believe for one moment a 2-year-old could be that good for that long.
Tracy says she was apparently she was an angel child and still am. Lol.
The question is, do we believe you?
That's harsh.
Get the tongue poked out, you know. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little, just in this little tiny butterfly there. So have you done those sentiments yet, Ian?
Nobody gave me anything to put in.
Too busy nattering, honestly.
I haven't had a sentiment. Nobody suggested one.
Okay, so we have our 2 panels, which were almost lined. Very spectacular. Okay, well, I guess while I'm waiting I'll score my card then and hope for the best. I'll put those there, they need cleaning off.
Tracy says she's an angel adult now.
Okay, so I have 2 options. I can put it down that end and put my fold down and kind of do like a normal boring card. I can put it down this end and kind of do a zigzag. Oh, I did think of another way this morning and I'm looking at it thinking I don't think I'm brave enough to do that live on stream today. Just goes ahead. So, eeny, meeny, miny, moe, let's go for one of each. Just because we can.
Can somebody think of a sentiment for me? And I'll create it in
Let's go for this one
Canvas
first.
for Natalie quick.
So I'm just going to give myself a little bit of a reference point. So let's just grab a pencil. It's okay, I got my trusty. So I'm going to score it there.
Happy anniversary.
Out we pop them. So one welded, one not welded.
Okay.
Please be nice when picking fonts. Because that anniversary is going to be a nice one to place.
Linda says with love. So I can do one happy anniversary and one with love.
Okay, can you weld the anniversary then, please? So we're not here going A, N, N.
Okay.
Okay. So first things first, I'm going to fold my card so it's mounted in. I'm just going to flip that over. I'm going to grab my bone folder and I'm going to crease the fold with the bone folder. Always do that on the back so you don't get any shine on the front of your card. So then my panel's going to go there.
That's changed.
Next we need to decide whether we're going to leave the card overhanging or if we're going to fold it in. So what we could actually do is actually fold it in. We could always stamp that same butterfly image again if we wanted to. So I'm just going to score it for today. So you want to line up your score line so it is a little inside the front flap of your card. Okay, that's just so that it's nice and easy for somebody to open. So again, I'm going to score it so our mounting is upwards and we can fold it in like so. And again, we'll flip round to the back, check it's all aligned, and we can score it that way.
How big do you want these?
So if need be, give it another little grease on this edge here, and then just going to take that edge there. Okay, so the widest that you want them to be is about 10 centimetres, so that's way too big.
I know that. I was
Pick a different font.
going to weld it first. I've made it big to weld it, then I can shrink it up to.
Yeah, but your line's going to go smaller, so unless you're going to draw it and then put like a offset around it.
I can do if you want me to.
Yeah, probably better.
So I don't need to weld it then.
Yeah, because otherwise your offset will go around each individual letter. Oh dear, can't get the stuff, can you, honestly? So I'm going to apply our panel to our card. That's probably more glue than what I usually use, but it won't go anywhere, especially in this heat. Now if you wanted to, you could have put a bow around this section. So as I said, it's worth keeping this design because it is quite versatile. So if you've got some of the dies where it cuts your words on an edge, you can always add an extra panel over the top for that. So it's just a case of when it's dry, stamping the inside. And I quite like that. I'll put that one up there for a minute. So, this one, said I was going to go the other end, didn't I? So, because we haven't trimmed this one, we could go edge to edge if we wanted to, rather than having like the matten layer, or we could trim it. Decisions. I think I'm going to go edge to edge, you know, just so it's nice and clean. Yeah, So I'm going to, with this one, put the card into the scoreboard, and I'm going to line it up so that my base piece lines up with this score line here. Now this is going to be a zigzag fold, so I don't mind so much that my mounting is going to the outside because it looks a bit cracking. Right, so we're now working this way up, and because it's going to be entirely covered, we can score this one from the front as well. Now, when we come to do this next fold, I'm still going to score it up this way just so I can use the panel as a reference, but it's going to fold back on itself. So again, I'm just going to slightly inset my score line to where the front of my panel is. Score again. So we now have a set fold. And you can always trim off that back panel if you want to, which I probably will. So let's do that next. So I'm looking about 5 mil off. There we go. A little bit more. There we go. And just because it's very slightly off on that last fold, I'm just going to hold it in place.
That's 11 centimetres, okay, is that too big?
11's too big.
You get 10, yeah?
Okay, so we now have our third fold card. Have you all got bored yet and gone home?
Okay, that's one for you. Jackie said use a die.
What, rather than you do it? Probably about right there, Jackie.
Cheeky.
Question is, have you spelled anniversary right?
I hope so, I've copied Tracy's spelling.
As your excuse and you're sticking to it. That's not nice, is it? Okay, so we now have the front of our card. I think I might carry on and stamp that one just while Ian is finishing off his sentiment lesson. Told you that there's a reason why I didn't bother cleaning the stamp yet. Oh, you're going to be awkward. Are you okay there, dear, or are you getting a little stressed? Because you sound stressed.
I'm stressed. I'm just trying to pick a nice font for this with a love.
Okay. So just before I pop it in, just because we had that first mark on it, I'm just going to give it a quick wipe on that base because you don't want to transfer Versamark to the inside of your card, because that never do. Okay, just going to move my magnets out of the way so I can still get to them. So I'm going to put one there, one there, one there. Rotate. And I'm going to go back to my squid ink. So you could emboss this side if you wanted to, but just because it's a single sheet of card, I'd be worried about the fact it could possibly warp. So just going to put that one there just to hold that fold down as well.
There you go.
You sent it. Okay.
She said she hopes she's right.
Okay, so make sure it's still the same way up as your card fronts at this point. Nothing like getting it wrong, trust me. Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt, especially when you're demoing upside down. So easily to get it wrong.
And Tracy says she's heading up to bed, but she won't be going to sleep yet. She's got a few more tutorials to catch up on you.
Okay, I'm going to pop a bit more ink just in those couple of places where it's missed, and probably stand up and give it a little push. Okay, so there and there roughly. Oh, seriously? Come on. There's always one, isn't there? It's that little butterfly again.
Ready?
More or less. It'll do. It'll do. There we go. So we can have a butterfly inside our card as well as on the front. Now I'm going to let that dry, because if that I close that up at the moment, it's going to leave a lovely imprint on the inside of the front of the card. So just let that dry. Whew. So if you had any waste card at this point, you could use that to cut your sentiment from. I think I might leave the sentiment till tomorrow morning, you know. Just because I can't remember what I was going to do. So you could always go back over sentiments if you want, and
Yeah.
welding it and not welding it. And hopefully I'll feel a bit more on top form then.
Yeah.
And we can finish these off. Okay, so for today, just because it is awfully warm, and if I don't cool down soon, it's going to be, whew, there's going to be a melted natty in the corner. So take care, and we'll see you all tomorrow morning at 11 AM UK time. And I hope you've enjoyed that. I'm off to have a lie down in a darkened room. Well, I wish. Stick my feet in a cold bucket of water.
Hang on.
Okay.
Yep.
So Hope you've had a good time and take care.
See you tomorrow.